You ever heard of the heart attack gun?
Yeah, CIA heart attack gun, yeah.
CIA have a heart attack gun.
Oh,
Yeah, they admitted to it.
Quite a long time ago that actually happened. And the funny thing about it was there was a conspiracy theory about it ahead of time.
Yeah.
And people were like, no. CIA wouldn't have a heart attack gun. That's ridiculous, right? And then it turned out they had one.
And they produced it. They showed it at this hearing. You know, they said they agreed they wouldn't use it anymore. But there's people that die of there's the lawyer pushing against a government thing or whatever. He died he was in perfect health, died jogging. Like other people. Since they're not going to stop. They're CIA. They would do something like that. Yeah, we got it. Here it is. Yeah, okay, we'll stop you. They don't have to disclose anything if they don't want to.
Yeah,
but,
they are a separate organization. They're not really overseen, by anybody.
So this is something that's been disclosed then?
Well, it was in a hearing. They said, basically we have it. And they told them, the Congress told them, you can't use this anymore. And they were like, sure. But I mean...
They have pictures of them at the thing.
Yeah.
They produced the gun.
And it's funny how it works, too. Apparently it's this toxin from it's this toxin from a puffer fish that apparently causes people to have a heart attack, as soon as it gets in your blood system. And they put it in this little ice fucking bullet. And they got this special gun that fires it out, and when it gets into your system, you have a heart attack. And apparently they use it specifically because it's untraceable once in an autopsy at the time, in the 70s when they were using it.
Wow.
They still use it, and it's even a good autopsy today. They're not likely to catch it
because it is such a rare.
But it makes a hole because of the ice pellet.
Yeah,
it looks.
But I mean, it's like a pin-sized hole apparently. Yeah,
one of those cuts you could get around the house. Those little mysterious. I don't know.
And because there's no bullet, you can't trace the toxin. It just looks like the guy had a heart attack. They easily slough it off as a heart attack.
Wow.
Yeah. It was only, no one ever really considered it a reality until after the hearings, too, after they found out,
This thing exists, and there's no reason why they would have stopped using it. There's other people, too. There's at least 3 examples that I remember when I was learning about this that were used of people in, since 1990, recently, after this, long after, this, they produced it and were told not to use it. Of course they're going to keep using it. Yeah, it was sad. They you can't say they did it, but these people were opposing government agenda and mysteriously died, even though they were just recently deemed in perfect health.
That's pretty fishy. Yeah,
it is.
But still, it's not concrete. But it's considerable. It's compelling.
People who oppose things. You know what else? There's a lot of shit. There's an epidemic in white collar crime. And it's just getting worse, but they actually diagnosed it during
white-collar crime.
Yeah, they said the FBI was working on this. They have FBI documents that this is their statement. There's the biggest epidemic. They use the word epidemic of white-collar crime known in history taking place right now in the United States, and this was during the Bush administration. And after the 9/11 shit, they actually redirected a bunch of FBI agents working on these cases all to anti-terrorist assignments. So
it's like terrorism's the big thing now. Stop looking at us. Yeah.
yeah, exactly. Distraction from what's really going on.
Yeah.
They were a bunch of these people were being investigated by the FBI, and they were told, this is no longer a priority and taking off these cases. These white-collar crimes are still going on. There's the guy who runs, what's that big investment bank? Citibank, this guy's getting away with murder all the fucking time. Warren Buffett types. We're talking about these guys. I wouldn't be surprised if Warren Buffett was one of the ones they're investigating, but it all just dematerialized and these cases never got pushed forward. But it's on FBI letterhead. They were in the middle of investigating what they call the biggest white-collar crime epidemic in history.
Well, just look at the Hillary Clinton shit. You know what I mean? It goes away in the next news cycle. It's like, oh, you're being investigated by the FBI, and then boom, it's all gone because you're somebody. If it was you or me, we'd be behind bars already.
Right. But this is what I'm saying, right? It's just the shit that's you couldn't get away with it. You think of what Nixon got nailed to the wall on. It's then you think of what people just like you said, recovering from without a heartbeat now. The same kind of scandals killed you, even in the 50s and 60s. But I mean...
And the funny thing is, this is common knowledge. Everyone acknowledges this is true. That there's 2 different justice systems, really, for the rich and the poor. And yet nobody really stands up or does anything about it or even really talks about it.
Everybody's so apathetic. They know they got us all cornered.
Yeah.
It's like,
So what are you gonna do, right?
like
And it's
we
true.
had,
What
like,
are you gonna
initially
do?
voiced when we were talking about
No,
groups in the
it goes
beginning.
back
Is
to what I
that
was saying
they know
before.
that everybody's acting an individual.
If
You know,
there's-
you might have to deal with a household
No,
of 12.
but if at a certain time we couldn't sit out in a backyard and chit chat like this and have that sort of freedom, like they give us enough to
Just enough.
placate us,
Yeah.
they do.
so we don't organize.
You get
and-
to watch your Netflix and play your Xbox.
That's
and,
right.
You know,
Yeah.
then
Have
you don't
your
give a shit.
backyard and go
Pacifiers.
camping and
Yeah.
have your, buy your products, and we'll make sure
But
we
you're always
enslave
still
enough
a
countries
slave.
to make other products for
You're
us.
always,
Robbing the
there's no
place.
free travel left in the world.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, there was a point in time where if you could get on a ship, you could move somewhere. Like, I mean, I have to ask permission to travel. Like, I mean, my government has to approve it.
Yeah, you
so
can
do
smuggle
theirs.
yourself.
Oh, but
But you don't. If you get caught though, there's a penalty. You can't. There is no free travel, like you said. You
free
can't just be
travel.
like, "Hey,
There
I'm
you go.
going to this place. I'm
You
just
know
going to
what I
settle
mean? Like,
down."
if you
Yeah.
wanted to
No,
go,
you're right, there
like,
isn't.
you know, I can get on this fishing boat. I'm willing to work my way, you know, there, but I want to go to the Barbados. But you can't do that now because
No.
you would have to have your passport, your papers, your approvals, your visas, and then you can go work on the fishing boat and maybe end up in that other place until they kick you out or until you, like, you know, do the dance. But I'm just saying, you know, like, we do have these, pacifiers, which, you know, it's hard to say when we want to give up this MTV, and we don't, right? And it does. It keeps us all complacent. But we lost that. We lost that, like, Hercules and Aeolus freedom, you know, where you could, in theory, if you had the motivation to do it, not have these walls put up, you know, is like, if I was willing to sleep on the side of the road and willing to eat whatever I could afford or find and willing to trade my services along the way, I've still been, like, you know, limited, you know, by, you know, permissions from gatekeepers, these, you know, self-imposed, you know, lords of territories that, you know, still would, you know, limit my access or my delivery. And, you know, like, I mean, even in medieval times, you know, like I'm saying, you know, we'd be more oppressed, like you said, you know, like it's, you know, I don't know, you know, like, I mean, how far you'd have to go back, right? Because, I mean, you know, I could be caught on the king's land and he doesn't know who I am. Now I'm in jail. Now they're cutting off my hands for no reason. So at least, like you said, I can sit in this backyard and no one's cutting off my hands. But if somebody does come in to cut off my hands and they are from the right authority figure, you know, they are delegated from the right place, then no one's going to stick up for me. They're going to forget about me by tomorrow and I might never come back and the world keeps turning. And I mean, I'm still, you know, I'm still at the whim of, you know, these people, you know, like, I mean, the king still rules, you know, like, I mean.
Still just, small
Still allowed to
freedoms.
play
You know
here.
what I mean? It's temporary freedoms, really, because they can take them away from
It's
you
like
at any
George
time.
Carlin says.
Yeah.
Yeah, there are no rights. There are temporary privileges.
Exactly.
That's right.
And you try to enjoy the temporary privileges. We do have it on other places, and it is a good outlook
I don't
to
know.
think.
I see my,
Yeah.
you know, even my, you know, our elders getting taken care of fairly well. I mean, compared to where else could they be if we didn't have hospitals and retirement homes and like all these types of concepts? Like,
Yeah. These socialist
I
things.
mean, in old countries, they live in the same household forever. We, you know, have been bred to, you know, think that, you know, this is the normal
that
pattern.
we shouldn't
that
take care of our own, right?
we're meant to
Yeah,
move
there's
out
an
when
argument
we're
there.
a certain age, get our own
I'll
place,
take
and
that.
now we're our own individual unit, and we
We
take
thought
care
about
of
moving my
our...
grandmother here
Yeah.
and making a granny pad somehow.
But I mean, you know, it's like counterculture does, right? But in a different culture, they choose to all live in the same house. They could have 5 different houses, but it's foreign to them to do that.
Yeah.
You know, we all
The
live in
family
the
sticks
same
together.
house. We're a family, and there's like, you know, aunts, uncles, grandparents. You know, all these people who choose to live together, not necessarily out of like frugalness. Like it's, you know, they just feel like they belong together.
Yeah,
you know?
culturally, that's what you do. Yeah, the family sticks together. Yeah.
Well, I mean, there's a point. Depends on what you're doing, right? Like if you're breeding, then no, you got to split it out because you'll end up outbreeding your space. And these people, like a man and a woman, if they just keep going at it, they can make a brood, man.
But that brood, if they were all splitting on one space, could afford a mansion. You know,
Assuming they were productive,
assuming they were productive. You know, but like plenty of space. Like,
which
you
you
know,
probably could. I mean, every person is theoretically productive, like at a certain point.
that's what I'm saying. They could all work in a cab stand, but they could still live in a mansion if there are
Yeah.
87 of them putting in on it.
That's
You
right.
know,
That's
yeah.
right. And they don't, you know, exactly. No, there is that. You know, so that could be a strategy all in itself. Get yourself a brood and get them working.
Well, because if you can stick together, you've made
Well,
a
it is-
group.
it's like
And
you
a
got your
group
own
has
little
now got a
commune,
head
right?
start on the individual. You know?
Yeah, you got all these people putting in their share into this one pot.
That's why the one Asian guy could run 7 pawn shops downtown at once. You know, because he was in every pawn shop from time to time, the one guy consistently, but, you know, like, you know, they all stayed open because you could tell these people were all related to him. Like, I mean, most of them didn't speak English. They seemed to be forbidden to talk to me. You know, yeah, he keeps them in the basement. You know, like, they get a loaf of bread every day and they say thank you.
Okay, good.